is it possible for a data analyst to begin their career on the data science track without mastering, let's say as an example, Python? Are they able to start their career without being an expert in Python and still be able to achieve some of those professional results that they're looking for? What are your thoughts?
Thank you, Blair. So, well, yes, no, and it depends. So, looking at the last slide that you were sharing here, it is true that there's a way in which domain expertise is increasingly relevant, and so to speak, the background that you come from really matters, and what you know in terms of the business domain or simply the industry that you're in, that can be really, really interesting. An example that comes to mind is a Stanford professor from the famous CS department commenting that the more interesting AI and machine learning projects came from the students of other faculties, not the CS faculty, because they were in agriculture or in engineering or in medicine. And then if they kind of came into and started using AI, they were looking at this and they were developing the more interesting use cases, the more interesting problems, and also the more interesting solutions, because they had this domain expertise, this other background to which they added data and artificial intelligence. So yes. And then, of course, another answer I have is no, and I'll give you another example. So where I sit, I deal with a lot of people that are in business and responsible business leadership positions. And every now and then somebody comes and says, you know what, Chris, I finally completed that Python course on one of the usual online learning platforms. And I'm really proud of it. I did this because, you know what, now I can talk to my tech people totally different because I get some of the Python, right? And then, of course, third part of the answer is where you're sitting. So I appreciate that you're developing AutoML tools. And yes, it is really important that more people get to use this. And I'm on the same page in terms of commoditization and democratization and so on and so on. So yes, great. We absolutely need more of that, and more of that will happen. And then perhaps like you, so I'm guessing you also know how to code in Python. For a lot of people that want to get into that career and be, say, more than a user, they want to be a professional. They kind of want the real thing or the real deal. They will want to learn Python. So there are many answers to that. So to some extent, perhaps you don't, at least not to get started. But then as you move into the field, probably you will want to, and that's fine too.